Hi, everybody. Rob Cootie here, the MLM Solution. Hope you're all doing well today. Today is Thursday, May 13th. Tax day just right around the corner. I hope everybody's got them done. I got to finish mine up. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Anyway, the point is that today at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always, we go live on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Please join us on those channels. All you have to do is use hashtag the MLM Solution. Hashtag the MLM Solution, as you see in the ticker, and you can find us on our social media platforms utilizing that hashtag. Please share our platforms and our podcasts with our fellow network marketers across the globe so they too can have access to the wonderful information we put out, not only on our website, but in all of our various platforms. We want them to have a positive experience in this business model as well, and you can help that process by simply sharing the hashtag or hitting the share button wherever you are. If you go to our YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the or make comments and hit the little bell twice so that you can get notified when we go live and when we upload the content. We are on a lot of different social media platforms. Once again, please use hashtag the MLM Solution. Today's podcast is going to be number 181, Network in legal and insurance issues. Networking, in other words, a networking business model, legal and insurance issues you must be aware of and take care of in order to protect yourself and your business and your family. All right. Join us today as we cover those things in great detail so that you're not caught with your pants down and get yourself in financial or legal trouble because you did not have proper coverage or did not know about specific issues that are related to the network marketing business model. All right, I've rambled long enough and getting close to the show. Let me get off of here and I'll see you in a moment.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Hello, Miss Marie. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Rob. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. Doing wonderful. As you know, we got Luke back from the vet, and so far so good. Although he's on 5 medications, and the wife had to make this fancy-ass chart in order for us to keep up with it. She is so good at making those things, but boy, it's got check marks and this and that and at this time and that time, with food, without food. I mean, it is intense. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's a good thing I love that little fart.
I was going to say, he's becoming a little high maintenance there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course, we would have a phone call when we start the show. I haven't had a phone call all morning, which is unusual. And there we go. And it's probably an important one with all the sick animals that we have. And I have a doctor's appointment today. I get my arm looked at the University of Louisville Orthopedic Clinic. Hopefully they can help me out. Otherwise, I'm going to be heading up to Indianapolis to a specialist up there. So things are moving forward in all fronts in a positive manner, and that's awesome. Did a lot of financial reorganization yesterday. You talk about mind-boggling. Oh, my gosh. You know, am I making the right decision? Am I doing this right? Am I doing it right? You don't want to lose money, obviously, Miss Marie. So it was intense yesterday, to say the least.
No doubt. And it's interesting. We're all delayed about a month, right? They pushed back the day taxes are due. So I think everybody's doing their last minute tax thing and in order for tax day, which is normally April 15th. But this year they pushed it back to May 17th. So taxes are due Monday. So if you haven't got them done, you got a few days, make it happen.
Make it happen. There you go. Well, you know what? I did not mean on putting it off, but with all the arm, the dog, as you know, and this is not about me, and talking about taxes leads into today's episode, obviously.
It does.
It does. Absolutely. It's a great segue. But I will say, as we get ready to do that, I have told you, I sat down with my finances yesterday, $6,800 since December is how much we spent on our animals. $6,800. Woo, girl, that's a lot of money. It's a good thing I love those farts.
I was gonna say those are some pretty expensive animals you got there.
Yeah. Well, they're all between 10 and 12 years old. Most of them have teeth issues because they're small animals. And the smaller the breed, which I did not know, the more dental issues they have. And I can't stand the thought. I mean, if anybody's had a toothache, if anybody's had an impacted tooth, if anybody's ever had a chipped tooth, all of those are painful. And imagine a dog not able to speak and walking around with one of those issues in constant pain. Well, that just freaks me out. I make it sound like it bothers me. And so we have them checked every 6 months. And the littlest one, and we just had their teeth cleaned not long ago, within the last year, but they already have teeth issues as well because they get older, especially the smaller breed. We have one that weighs 4 or 5 pounds. I mean, that's small. And she has real teeth issues and bleeding gum issues. So it's a constant battle. It's not about me. It's not about the money. It's about them. But, when you're going through your finances and you're reorganizing your finances to make things better and reduce the money that you're spending, and you see that, you go, oh my gosh. Because at the moment you just spend it and get it over with, right?
Right.
So there we go. Just a little insight, but we have a number of little animals. All right, Miss Marie, before we get started, real quick, I want to let everybody know about this. We have, as you know, guys, what not to do with network marketing. You see the URL right there, themlmsolution.net/WNTD. For all of you on the podcast, themlmsolution.net/WNTD. That is the web address you go to, and you're going to get instant access to this special. In the next 24 hours, you have the ability to get this information, and wait till you see the bonuses on that page. An amazing array, 9 extra bonuses, things that we talk about, highlighted, very high quality bonuses that we're always talking about. You are going to get those for free when you get this package. You consider the information that's in this and what not to do package. And that information has been around for 60 plus years, all based on facts, help you become a focused business building machine. You cannot get this information anywhere else. You get 146 pages full of 146 paragraphs that just happened to work out that way. It wasn't planned. 146 audio files of real life examples that help take what you read, the information you read in this ebook, and takes it to another level. Plus many training videos. Guys, you can't beat that. That package alone is worth every penny of that $47. It's actually worth every penny of the $197. If you buy it within the next 24 hours, not only are you going to only pay $47, one-time fee for a lifetime membership, you're going to get an instant $150 savings plus these 9 extra bonuses. And we'll let you know what those extra bonuses are in future episodes. But don't miss out on this. If you want to know what we're about, guess what? This is a great way, an affordable way to find out what we bring to the table for you. We're all about empowering you to do great things with this wonderful business model. All right, Miss Marie, we got that out of the way. Let's get on to our subject matter today.
Well, and before we dive into the subject matter, we have to do our own little legal disclaimer here. Today's topic, we're talking about legal, tax, insurance issues. We need to make it clear that we are not legal, tax, or insurance professionals. What we're sharing with you here is our opinion. We highly recommend you consult your own professionals before taking action on this. This is all our opinion, our personal experience. So, by continuing to listen to this episode, you're agreeing that we're not responsible for any decisions you make or actions you take going forward. We're all about personal responsibility. We want to give you an idea of things you need to be aware of, things you might want to look into, but do so with the use of your own local professionals. And again, because we have an international audience, we're speaking mainly from a United States perspective because, of course, that is our experience. Things may be very different in the country where you reside. So again, please consult your local professionals before taking any actions.
That's correct. That is correct, guys. We sometimes forget that Miss Marie's on it. It is mainly a U.S. thing, and it is a legal disclaimer for a reason, because we will not pretend that we know all the ins and outs of the legal issues and the tax issues. But considering I've been doing my own taxes, business and otherwise, for 30 plus years, I'd say I'm pretty versed on what applies to me, not anybody else. Okay, so the information you're going to get today is not from a novice, okay, because I've had multiple businesses in different industries and mainly have worked out of the home. I have not gotten an office. I've been a few times where I've come close, but in the end, I enjoy working from home and being here for the animals and the wife and the kids, etc. So it works out for me. But the bottom line is, and I will say this, Miss Marie, there is real value in having an office if you can afford it. And if that office is not going to interfere with you being able to support yourself or your family, Miss Marie, there's something to be said about taking a shower, getting ready for work, dressing for work, and going to an office. We talked about that before. There's real power in that for some people, including me. When I'm at home, I get sidetracked by feeding the animals, about discussing things with the wife, and I get sidetracked by many things, Miss Marie, before I get into the quote-unquote work mode. And sometimes it's 10 or 11 o'clock before I get started.
Yep, same. But you know what? That is some of the flexibility and beauty of being your own boss, being able to work from home. You can work it around your schedule rather than being tied to an office too. But again, that's one of those areas where a lot of people need to kind of decide for themselves what works best for them. If you can afford office space, and nowadays there's lots of shared office space you can rent on a temporary basis to try it out even. If you find you're more effective and it helps you be more productive, absolutely look into getting an office. But some people can manage the home thing just as well too. So again, a very personal decision. We don't necessarily make a recommendation one way or the other. It's just whatever's going to help you be that consistent and correct business building activity focused professional, right? Right,
exactly. So whatever works for you guys, we want to bring it up because that's going to be part of our discussion today. Because if you do decide to get an office outside of the home, it's going to be a different set of insurance guidelines that are going to that you're going to have to address versus being at the house. Okay, and we'll talk about that. Once again, as she had said, you need to check with your tax and legal representatives. There are lawyers that specialize in the network marketing industry. Okay, with the advent of the internet, there's a lot of information on the internet. The bad thing is, do not base your insurance and tax requirements or filings based on what you read on the internet. Please talk to a live person and ask really good, intelligent questions, all right? And let them know what your plans are. Don't talk about, well, I might do this. Say, I am going to do this, so they can give you accurate information. So we want to make sure as we start this that you understand the importance of you being totally accurate and totally honest with these people, because they're there to help you out. And I'm going to tell you, if you try to save pennies, it's going to end up costing you dollars, thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars. So don't try to cut corners. All right. Here's the thing. If anybody, Miss Marie, I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. I can't say that I have. Boy, my phone is on fire. I apologize, people. I've got a lot of medical things going on, and I'm sure it's them calling. All right. So anyway, here's the thing. you do not want to be caught, Miss. Well, let me say this, Miss Marie. Have you ever said, they said, well, you know what? Your rent is due on the 1st, and 1 month, Miss Marie, you're short. So all of a sudden your mind goes into gear and you start thinking of creative ways to make this money, this gap that you have. Something's come up. It's made you maybe a couple $100 short. You could borrow it from family. You could sell something that you have. You could do, there's so many different ways to create income. And you know what? Your mind goes to work, right? And it finds ways to raise that money. Now, what I'm saying here is, guys, is that don't try to save pennies on your insurance. If the proper coverage costs you an extra $100 a month, you'll find a way to make that money, or to cut some of the, don't buy 15 pizzas, only buy 5 this month. That might be the $100. Okay. If you buy 2 cases of beer, buy, 6-pack, whatever the case may be, just look at your lifestyle and see what you could cut out and see if you can create a $100 defect up just by making some lifestyle changes. Now, the reason I bring it up is because as we go into this subject, you have to understand that you have to have the proper coverage. And we'll just go ahead and start addressing that. Well, Ms. Marie, we'll start with a home office because the insurance requirements are a little bit different than they are if you have a business office, okay? If you go to an insurance agent and you already have insurance on your home. Now, if you're renting a home, you should have renter's insurance. And once again, you want to call the company that has that and say, hey, I have turned X room, and you have to tell them it's bedroom number 1, bedroom number 2, whatever, okay? And you have to say, and they'll say, well, how many square feet is it? And you tell them, well, it's a 10 by 8, which is 80 feet, all right? And the reason they ask that is because they're going to base the rates typically on how many rooms you're using for business, what the square footage of those rooms, is there an access door? Is there a fire exit? Okay, and that's some of the things, Ms. Marie, I don't know if you know this, but the IRS, and I can understand, I'm not a fan of the IRS at all, but I understand where they're coming from. Now, they changed it about 5, 6, 7 years ago where they said if you are going to have a home office, because people were just claiming anything, a closet to be a home office, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they said, well, in order to have a home office and for safety reasons as well as part of the decision, you need to have a door that's accessible, readily accessible to that particular room. Does that make sense? Okay. And some of the new homes that are being built here, and Louisville has a very unique home building environment. There are a lot of the executive level homes have offices built with sidewalks leading up to the door and the steps that go into the office. Because, they'll build a designated office in those big homes. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so they will have that dedicated door so it meets those legal requirements, and they can be claimed on your taxes per the IRS guidelines. Does that make sense? Yep. Yep. Okay. Now, the reason I bring it up, you might say, well, the IRS is never going to show up at my door. They got plenty of things to do and this and that. And I agree. That may be, I wouldn't think they'd show up at your door, but what if they found out? Miss Marie, they could go back and they can charge you X amount of years and take those benefits away that you claimed and charge you interest on all those years. So the question is it worth it to lie to say, yes, I do have an exit door. I'm going to go, and you don't. It's actually a bedroom, okay? And you claim that bedroom as an office because you're actually using it for an office. And if they ever find out that it's just a bedroom and does not have that access door, they can go back, reverse your claims. In other words, you claimed it on your taxes because you can claim a portion of your electricity, a portion of the water, if it has a sink, whatever, toilet, whatever the case may be. And, carpet, if you have to replace the carpet, if you have to do this, Ms. Marie, you can claim some of that, maybe all of it, and based on the certain situations. But the point is, you could claim those. And if you claim those and they find out, they'll take all that back and then charge you penalties and interest. That's not a pretty thing, No, it's not. And it's the penalties and interest that'll kill you. Yes. So here's the thing, guys. You have to make a decision. We talked about having an office outside of the home. There's a lot of positives that come with that. Of course, the negative is, guess what? You're going to have rent. You're already going to be paying insurance. Don't try and cheat the system. Because here's what happens. If somebody comes to your house and they get hurt, let's say they're not even coming to visit your office. Let's just say they're coming over to visit, somebody that you met recently and you've developed a good rapport with them and the friendship is starting to blossom. And they are in that bedroom and they're like, wow, this is really cool. What do you do here? What's this? What's that? And they ask a bunch of questions. And somehow, some way they get hurt in there, in that room. And you're claiming it as an office in your taxes and they get hurt. They could sue you, your family, and that business or the business itself. And if you try to say, well, it wasn't a business, it was just a bedroom that they were in, this should fall under my home insurance, not, a business. And if you try to split hairs, it's going to get ugly because Miss Maria is going to come out and then the IRS gets involved because smart lawyers will look at your tax returns to see what you've done. And all of a sudden you've been caught with your pants down and you may not have a leg to stand on. You get caught up in the legal system in this situation, it could be a nightmare, a financial disaster, right? Yeah.
It's best to always be preventative whenever possible because the worst case, insurance is one of those things you hope you're buying it for something you hope you'll never need, right? You don't ever want to use it, but you want to be playing it safe.
Yes, we'll cover that. Yes, we'll certainly cover that. All of a sudden you follow, hey, we don't cover that. Insurance is a scam, man. I'm telling you, just like the law profession, you never know. There's no consistency. And then you have to fight for your life, right? So here's what I would advocate, guys. Number one, don't try and cut corners. Don't try and be cheap. Pay what it's worth. I'm going to talk about what you should get here in a moment. But if you have someone that you've just recently met and you have a budding friendship here, close the door to the office and do not go in it. Just don't go in it. Don't even bring it up that you have a business. Don't even bring it up that that's an office. Don't go in there because if anybody gets hurt, it's going to be in the home environment. The word business will never come up, right, Miss Marie, in the claim. So don't do it. Don't brag about the fact you got a home business and a home office and that you work from home, okay? Just tell them, say, well, right now because of the virus, we are working from home, but that's like a lot of people. Don't mention an office. Now, you're not lying. If they don't ask, you don't tell. Even if they ask, you have no obligation to answer that question. Just say, well, yeah, we work from home because of the virus. And just let it go with that, okay? You're not splitting hairs. You're telling the truth, but they don't have a need to know what that room is for or what it's about, okay? And so with that being said, how can I say this? What level of protection should you get? Miss Marie, in my personal life, even when I really couldn't afford it, because, look, I'm like anybody else. I wasn't born with money. I had to learn all the ins and outs. You learn the ins and outs by what? Being frugal and doing certain things, creative things, if you will. I guess you could call that cutting the corners. I don't know. But here's the thing. I always made sure that I had more coverage than I needed. I learned that from Charles Givens. And it's only really a few more dollars. But here's what I'm saying. In the state of Kentucky, I think the minimum on certain automobile liability and, collision and all that is $100,000. That's the minimum. You got to have that. It may be $50,000. I think it's $100,000. But Miss Marie, I have $350,000 or $550,000. I can't remember. It's quite high. But the reason is, Miss Marie, is because if in today's legal environment, people go for the big money. You know what I'm saying? You see lawyers advertising all the time. We got this person $3 million, right? Well, guess what? If that person or that company only had $1 million limit, in other words, they were trying to be cheap, cut corners, and they only got $1 million coverage, that lawyer and that insurance company will only pay up to $1 million. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a $3 million lawsuit, who do you think pays that $2 million left over? Marie does for the rest of her life. That you talking about being imprisoned, Miss Marie, that's horrible.
No.
You're now working for someone else. You can't stop working. I mean, that's horrible, right?
It is.
Yes. When you see those lawyers touting that they won so-and-so so much money, what they don't tell you is the horrible story and the lives they have crushed and destroyed by saying, well, no, don't settle for $500,000. Go for $1 million or $2 million. You've got the chance to make $1 million or $2 million. You got to realize the lawyers make a lot of money when they win a case. If they win a $2 million lawsuit for you, they may get $1 million of that. And by the time you pay taxes, you walk away with $600,000 out of a $2 million lawsuit. But that poor person that ended up paying that or is liable for that, their lives have pretty much been destroyed. So, Miss Marie, I have the maximum. And I also have, this is a little known thing that not many people talk about, learning from Charles Gibbons. I got an umbrella policy, a multi-million-dollar umbrella policy. And guess how much I paid for that per year as a rider? $25 a year. And what that does, Miss Marie, anything beyond my maximum limits is covered by the umbrella policy. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yes. Now, I share that with you guys because, look, pay the extra $25 a year. In your area, it might be higher, like New York, California, New Jersey. I'm sure it's got to be higher, Miss Marie. Umbrella policies are based on a lot of variables, but it's relatively inexpensive insurance, no matter what state you're in, compared to the other insurance you're paying. So don't skimp. Spend the money to get umbrella insurance, okay? You'll be so thankful you did. And if you can afford more than $1 million, you should get at least $1 million. And this is on top of the insurance. I encourage you to look at the maximum limits of insurance. Now, I started this out by saying you'll find a way to make the money to pay the premiums. And that's the reason why I said that at the beginning. Don't cut corners, cover yourself. If you do have a legit business out of your home, you want to make sure you have all this lined up correctly. Because again, Miss Marie, in today's sue-happy environment that we live in, people will take the opportunity. They see dollar signs when they get hurt. And believe it or not, my daughter has been a part, and thank God, an honest officer was there when she very slightly bumped into somebody. She hit their tail end and didn't even bust the paint or anything. But the lady in front was claiming that she was hurt. And that's one of the things that some unscrupulous people will do. And the police officer in his report said that he witnessed it. There was no, in any way, she never requested an ambulance. She never complained about pain. And thank God for his report. Now, why do I bring that up? You have a home office, guys. You don't know who's visiting your home office. You don't know what kind of person they are until that moment arrives, and then it's too late, right, Miss Marie?
Well, and there's a difference in your home office, too. If you're just working in your home office or you're doing business with others in your home office, it's a totally different level of insurance and legal issues and those types of things, too. So you definitely want to cover that with your professional advisors.
That's right. Now, let's talk about a couple of networking scenarios that affects this particular issue. Here's what we're saying. If you have a home office that's big enough and you have a growing local group and you say, well, you know what? We're going to meet at my house. We're going to go through a presentation. We're going to cover a product. We're going to go over the comp plan. We're going to do some training, whatever it is. Now, I think all of that's silly because it takes away from what? Business building activity. Okay, if you're using the 5 simple steps, you should never interrupt the business building activity that your downline is going through by having silly meetings, training people on product and comp plan. That's silly. Because the only thing you have to worry about is the 10,000 group volume level. 100 people doing 100 PV, you look at the comp plan, it's either worth it or it's not. Outside of that, you don't worry about anything else. You teach people how to get their first check and you move on, right, Miss Marie? So there's no reason to train people on a comp plan. Okay. But if for some reason you are bringing people to your home office to do some type of training or product pickup, whatever, once again, especially if you live in the eastern or northern states where there's bad weather on a regular basis, and I mean rain, snow, sleet, whatever, and people slip, okay, that could be a real issue. My point is, if you have a home office, even though it has a door to the outside and is legal by the IRS standards, don't hold meetings. Don't have people come over to your house to visit with you, to stop by. Look, you can do a Zoom meeting, okay? You could use the virus. Say, no, I prefer that you won't, and you don't. I don't want my family. I know that you might have taken the shot, whatever the case may be. Find a legitimate reason to say, no, I prefer that you not. Or you can just come out and say, no, I don't want people coming to my home. That'll come across the wrong way. But the point is, find a reason to keep people away from your home. That eliminates any possibility of any issues whatsoever. Right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. Use technology to do your meetings. If they have a question, tell them, get them on a phone call, get them on a Zoom call, whatever. Do it that way. That eliminates insurance issues altogether and legal issues. Now, if you have an office outside of your home, don't tell your downline, okay? Because look, if you're the type, like if Miss Marie and I were in the same city, I would be honest with you, her and I would have an office, and we would do videos in that office. And we would do website updates. We would do product development. We would do all that together. We'd probably hire a couple people, okay? And we would work together as a team and have that as a very productive environment. But that would be the only reason we would be there, and only reason we would have an office. And we would make sure that we're covered because we have employees, and those employees could sue us, okay? And it's not just, Miss Marie, legal issues is a hostile work environment, unfortunately, and no one can give you a true definition of what that is, okay? There could be sexual harassment issues. Even the smallest little statements or the smallest little innocent joke could be misunderstood or taken the wrong way and opening you up to legal issues. And you think, well, wow, that's kind of silly. That's not part. No, it is. In today's environment, as sensitive as people are, there are issues, and you can be sued over that. And you know, we usually talk about them falling or getting hurt, right, Miss Marie? Mm-hmm. Well, if Miss Marie and I had an office and we had employees, we'd almost have to hire, even for two people, an HR person, even off site, and you know, because of the legal issues of the work environment. So you have to ask yourself, is it really worth having an office outside of the home? I think it is, Miss Marie, if it's only you and I. Until the business gets too big and too involved where you and I have to hire people, then it's a whole different set of circumstances that we would have to address and get with a professional. At that time, you and I would get with a professional. If you and I were the only ones in the office, that's pretty simple and straightforward, legally and insurance-wise. Okay, but once we bring other outside people, then we got a problem.
Well, and I think, you know, the capacity you're talking about is after you've been established for a little while. And I think a large portion of our audience is relatively new to the network marketing industry, or they're just getting their network marketing business started. So odds are they're just going to be working at home. Let me ask you this question, because I think this comes up for people a lot. Is when they originally register to do business with the network marketing company, should they be signing up as an individual, as themselves, or should they be signing up as a company themselves? For instance, does it make sense for someone to create, say, an LLC, a limited liability corporation, and partner with the network marketing company that way rather than as me, the individual?
It would be better if you created a name with an LLC. There's a certain amount of liability that is taken away under an LLC as an individual. And that's a great question, and that's something that I would certainly consider. Like I would do Roland Enterprises LLC, okay? The reason is if I was sued, it would be against Rolling Enterprises LLC and its assets. And if I keep the assets small, they only get a portion. They can't sue me as an individual. Now, I've heard lawyers say, well, there's a way around that and this and that. Again, talk to a professional. I don't know that to be true. I've never had to test that, thank God, because I've kept things simple and I've kept people away. And I'd agree that our audience is, most of it is going to be relatively new, but there are certain people that I'm sure that are at certain levels that listen to us that would understand the power of what we were talking about a moment ago as far as advanced strategies would go. If Miss Marie and I were to go out and get an office and all of a sudden the demand was that we hire people, Miss Marie, I would do third party hiring where they didn't even have to come on site. With today's technology, there's no reason that they have to be in the office. But I try to use different examples to cover different possible scenarios. In other words, you and I physically having people in the office with us versus a virtual assistant that can be off. Because with Zoom, I can just get on there and say, okay, let's go through our to-do list and go through it real quick and say, okay, here's the number one priority today. Here's what we need done by 11 o'clock. Here's what we need done by 1, blah, blah, blah. We'll touch base later on today at 12:30. Okay, and that would be the way that I would handle it if you and I had an office and we had to hire extra people. I would keep as many people out of the office as possible and just focus on making videos and product production and hire the rest of it out. So with that being said, guys, there's a lot to be said for having an office outside of your home. I would keep it as few as people as possible in there. If it can be just you, good. Okay. If it's going to be you and your spouse, good. But the main thing is have insurance. Because look, if your spouse is with you, guess what? If she slips and falls, if you choose, you could file a claim under your business insurance to cover your medical bills. And that way you don't have to pay for it out of your pocket. Does that make sense, Miss Marie?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Once again, talk to a professional. With these types of scenarios, the reason I bring some of these small little everyday things up is because I want you to understand that there's some possibilities for you in a positive way, but there's also some negative. And we want to expose you to as many small negative things as we possibly can. Ms. Marie, I think we covered we could go on and on. We don't need to. The main thing is we covered the two different types of offices and what you need to be concerned about in each one of those situations. So let me just summarize real quick. Keep as many people away from your home or out of home office as possible. Okay. In other words, don't have foot traffic coming into your offices. Keep it to an absolute minimum. In network marketing, there's really no reason. There's auto ship with the 5 simple steps, everything, all the basics are covered. There's really no reason for anybody to come to you. Number 2, get more than the minimum in insurance and then get an umbrella policy as well. Okay. Additionally, make sure that your area is safe. Look around for any trip hazards. Look around in case somebody comes. If you're where there's inclement weather, like Miss Marie from the state of Wisconsin, which has snow 13 months out of the year.
Only 9. Come on.
You want to make sure that you have the shovel, the salt, etc., and then you keep everything cleaned off, whether it's a home office or outside of that. Don't cut corners. Pay for the insurance. You're going to be glad that you did. Limit your exposure. Get proper guidance as far as taxes and insurance. So I think that covers it all.
I think so.
All right. Well, it went a little bit longer than I wanted, but we started out talking about other life events before we got into the actual content. But guys, this is something that we really don't want to dig too deep into because we're not trying to dance around the subject. I think we covered some really important things and you had some valuable information here for both the newbies and the veterans. And the thing is that we want to point you towards the experts. And that's what responsible people do. We don't want to be know-it-alls, and we certainly don't know it all. That's the reason, once again, we're going to point you in the proper direction. It's not to dodge any legal issues here. We just don't want you to be caught with your pants down. You have anything to add, Ms. Marie, as we close out?
I do not, other than tomorrow is Friday, so that means it's our Freelance Friday show. Always a favorite.
I know it. Yeah.
Never know what we're going to be talking about.
I don't even know what we're going to be talking about.
I don't either. We'll figure it out tomorrow. So join us 11 a.m. Eastern and be as surprised as we are to find out what we're talking about.
That's right. I agree with that. And as we go, guys, I want to bring this up. Go to our website. And at the top of the website, click podcast replay. You'll have that week's podcast. And in their totality, all you have to do is click the links, and you'll have the most recent one, as you can see on the screen here, that'll be highlighted. That way you can catch up on the week's subject. And also, while you're there, download your free gift, FREE. There's no shenanigans, no commitments, none of that stuff. Yes, you're going to have to fill out a form, just 2 small entries, but there's not going to be any sale emails following that up. And when you fill out the form, you're just going to get a link to the free gift. And the free gifts are going to change all the time. So I'm sure you'll get some other emails highlighting those free gifts, and that's all you get. But that way you can keep up with our week's podcast, and you know exactly what's going on. So there you go. Make sure you do that. And if you will, while you're there, hit the share button and let our fellow network marketers know about our website, our podcast, etc. We will say thank you in advance. All right, Miss Marie, with that being said, I think it's time for us to get off of here. What do you think?
Sounds good. See you mañana.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, themlmsolution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.